Hotep, Alafia, Kamusta. Welcome to the Mind of Ro page. I am Faju Junde, Obajaguna, Oguna Salamio. So today I'm going to make a video on how to stop talking crazy to people. The last video I made was on an Ogun meditation. If you're not sure what that's about or what it's for, basically Ogun brings us strength. And I make a lot of videos on Orishas as well. If you're not sure what that is, then go check out my YouTube channel and get some more information on it and check out my meditations. I also do a lot of videos on chakras as well. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mind of Ro. I also have a TikTok and an Instagram and a Twitter at Mind of Ro. And I also have a Facebook business page at The Mind of Ro, where I do readings at. So if you would like to get a reading done, go ahead and shoot me a comment or a message. Private message me on Instagram or on Facebook and set an appointment up with me so we could do a reading on you, okay? So first of all, what does it mean to talk crazy to people? It basically is that saying to talk out the side of your neck. I know I have been there. Trust me, I am way better than I used to be. I am not perfect, and there are times where I could go off on people. I am a little hot-headed, but not like I used to back when I was in my 20s, okay? I'm a little older now, more mature, done a lot of soul-searching, done a lot of self-work. So this is the one thing that really can mess our life up. We got to be careful how we speak, not only to other people, but also how we speak about our life in general. So today I'm going to give you 11 steps on how to stop doing it. I know a lot of you watching this are probably like, dang, I like to talk crazy to people sometimes. So first of all, step number one to stop is you got to own it. Some people don't even want to admit that they talk crazy to people. Some people think it's normal, and some people think it's just acceptable, and it's just how it's done. And so the first way to change this is actually to accept that you're doing it. Well, how do you know that you're doing it? First of all, if you're arguing all the time and you're constantly arguing with a lot of people on a constant basis, chances are you like to talk crazy to people and you're not understanding why people are reacting to you in a certain way. Does this mean that arguments are always caused by you? No, because you could be surrounding yourself with toxic people and you don't know how to respond to it. That could be it as well. But number one sign you like to talk crazy to people is you argue a lot, as in a little too much. You argue every day, or you get in multiple arguments in a week. It's not healthy. So first of all, you got to own it. Number two is you have to stop being proud of it. One thing I notice that is going on with a lot of people I see online saying, oh, I'm a crazy bitch. And then it sounds like it's something that we're proud of. And this is not something to be proud of. It's toxic and it's not good for any party involved. So for you to stop doing it, you got to stop being... I'm back. My internet was acting up for a second. So, yeah, you got to stop being proud of it. It's not cool. Maybe when you're little and you grew up with a toxic family who taught you to think it's okay. Maybe you watch a lot of reality TV where you think it's cool and it's okay. But the next step to stop doing it is to admit to yourself that's really not cool and it's not acceptable to behave in this manner. And we got to stop making it a positive aspect of ourselves, or trying to trick ourselves and lie to ourselves that it's a good character. It's not a good character within us to be acting this way. And we subconsciously know that. So step two is really we got to stop being proud of it, and we got to really stop lying to ourselves and trying to find all kinds of ways to rationalize our excuse and why it's acceptable to keep doing it, which means you got to identify the problems that it causes. So for you to not be proud of it, you really got to sit back and ask yourself, well, why should I not be proud of it? How many relationships has it ruined? How many times have you said something that you should not have said? How many times have you said something when you really meant something else? Honestly, how many times has it really ruined your life? Has it got you fired before? Have you lost money out of it? Have you jumped to conclusions in the past and said something because you weren't paying attention and you thought something was going on when it really wasn't? How many times has it really sabotaged your life, not only in your personal relationships, but in your place of work and money, business, loved ones, stuff like that? Be real with yourself. How many times has it really messed your life up and stopped you from doing what you know you want to do and what you should be doing? Be real about it. Be honest. You gotta stop lying to yourself. Number three is identifying the fear on we react this way. When we start to talk crazy to people, it's because there's something that we're fearing. Are we scared that person's going to abuse us? Are we scared that the person is going to walk all over us? Are we scared that the person we're speaking to is going to convince us something that we don't want to be convinced of? Because when we start to blow up and act crazy, it's because there's something that we're fearful of. Are we fearful? Are we scared of commitment? Are we scared of being wrong? Are we scared of being caught in an act? What are you scared of? Why are you acting this way? Why are you mouthing off? What are you trying to cover up with your voice that you need to really own up to, whether it's a fear or guilt or shame within yourself, or maybe it's a fear of the other person overpowering you somehow, some way, which means it's an insecurity within yourself that you think that's possible. And if it is possible, why do you feel that is possible? And if it is possible, why is it possible? What is it that's insecure within yourself that you're allowing these things to happen, to where you get to the point to where you have to explode on people because you're constantly in fear mode. So number 3 is really identify the fear on why it's making you behave this way. Number 4 is identify where this habit came from. I grew up in a very abusive household. My mom was very abusive, and she used to talk all types of craziness to me. She used to put me down, call me names and stuff like that. Therefore, when I grew up and left the house, I thought it was acceptable to behave that way. Well, if mommy did it, then it's okay for me to do it, right? And then you grow up and you date people who do the same thing. Well, if the people you date act this way and everybody around you acts this way, all the people you hang out with acts this way, then it must be okay, right? So you got to identify where you're getting this habit from. Who did you grow up with that is teaching you that it's acceptable to behave this way, that has convinced you and tricked you into believing that this is a productive way to live your life? Who convinced you that? Was it your mom? Was it your dad? Was it your uncle? Was it your siblings? Was it TV that you've been watching and you need to stop watching because it's putting toxic ideas into your mind? Is it music you're listening to? What is it? Honestly, you got to ask yourself, where are you getting this to where it's the point that it became habitual, where the idea of it came from? Number 5 is you got to identify the why, as in like, well, why would you watch this video in the first place, and why would you want to stop doing it in the first place? If you want to stop talking crazy to people and you know that you're doing it and you're like, dang, I need to stop doing this all the time, you need to really ask yourself, why is your subconscious mind or your conscious, your soul, your higher self telling you you need to stop doing it? What is the why? You know it's messing your relationships up. You know that you want better for yourself. You know that you want people to speak to you respectfully. You know that you want to be respected. And to be respected, you need to learn how to respect others as well. So really ask yourself, well, why do you want to stop? What do you think it's going to do for you if you were to stop? How different would your life be? How different would your relationships be? Not only with other people, but with yourself. How different would you feel about yourself? Honestly, how would you feel about yourself if you reached the point of learning to stop speaking this way all the time? Number 1 is don't confuse calmness with weakness. As in, don't assume that just because you're calm when someone else is talking crazy to you, it means you're a punk, okay? This is the illusion that we need to get out of our head. And the reason why we act crazy and talk crazy to people is because we actually were convinced somehow, some way in our life, that if we're calm and collected when someone is talking crazy to us or treating us this type of way, it means we're just some kind of punk or some kind of pushover, which is not true. Which goes to my next step. Number 7 is to learn how to be assertive. Know that there is a difference between being assertive and being crazy. Assertiveness basically means being able to identify what you want and being able to say, this is what I want, without acting crazy, which means without name calling, without putting the other person down, without putting yourself down, without making yourself feel guilty for standing up for yourself. So this is the difference between acting crazy and acting assertive. Acting assertive is being able to say, hey, I don't like this and I don't want this. versus screw you and screw you and blah, blah, and you're this and you're this and you're that. There's a difference between craziness and assertiveness. So, which means we go back to number 6. You don't have to be a punk to stand up for yourself. You don't have to be crazy to stand up for yourself. You could practice assertiveness and own up to the fact that you have a right to be assertive without name calling and without throwing a whole bunch of extra insults in, when all it's going to do is make the situation more hot and worse than it needs to be. You got to just be straight to the point. Being assertive basically means you're going to be straight to the point. Say, this is what I want and this is what I don't want, and that's it. You don't have to add a whole bunch of extra you're this and you're that in the past and all this. Talk about past situations and everything else and bring it up other things that have nothing to do with the subject. That's when you start to get crazy, is when you're starting to bring up other things that has nothing to do with the subject. You're bringing up the past, you're name calling, you're insulting them, all kinds of stuff. So being assertive means you're just going to be straight to the point. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. That's it. It's that simple. And then sometimes you just got to learn to step off the conversation. If someone wants to do this afterwards, own up to the fact that you're not going to do it. Let them do it. Say what you want, and either they comply or they don't. Walk away from it, okay? Number 8 is, with assertiveness, the only way you're going to be able to be assertive is you really got to know how to set boundaries. You really need to know what your boundaries are, and not only be able to set those boundaries, but be able to abide by your own boundaries. The reason why we blow up on people sometimes is sometimes we were quiet for a little way too long. It's because we weren't pushing our boundaries. We weren't setting the boundaries that we knew we wanted, we thought in our head. We just assumed somebody knew. Therefore, we weren't pushing it. As in, we weren't saying, hey, don't do this and don't do that. And we stayed quiet for too long. And then by the time we boiled and boiled and boiled, boom, we blow up. And the person's like, oh my God, what happened? Why are you freaking out at me? Basically, because the boundaries weren't set ahead of the time. We need to understand that not only do we need to set boundaries, but we need to abide by them. As in, stop allowing people to do things to you, and stop doing things to other people that you know you don't want done to you, and stop allowing them to do it back and then later on blow up about it when you should have talked about it long time ago, or you should have pushed it long time ago instead of just allowing it. We need to own up to that. We can't keep blaming other people when they cross our boundaries. Yes, it's wrong. It is wrong. But what's also more wrong is when we are allowing it for too long to the point to where we explode and freak out, and then we act like we're the victim when sometimes we can be, but it takes two to tango, and everything is up to an extent. The next one, number 9, is I got some spiritual practices for you because I'm a very spiritual person. And of course, if you're going to watch one of my videos, I'm going to give you some spiritual guidance on how to help you stop talking crazy to people. So your voice comes from here, which is your throat chakra. So if you want to get some energy balance in your throat chakra, I'm going to give you a chant that will help balance this energy center. And what also helps too is visualizing the light color blue, like sky blue, radiating in your nose, and breathe like you're breathing in the energy of light blue in your nose into your throat chakra and out your mouth, all which doesn't serve you. So you can breathe in your nose, light blue, and you're going to imagine it. And you're going to imagine it cleaning out your energy center, and then blow out all that dark, gunky stuff that is not serving your throat chakra. And then you're also going to chant hum. Hum will help balance this energy center. It sounds like this. Hum. And I do suggest to do this 108 times. Of course, we don't have 108 fingers and toes, so it's best to get you a mala necklace or a mantra necklace, which has 108 beads on them. So if you need some help balancing this energy center, then chant that chant 108 times, and it will help balance the energy in the way you speak to other people. And it also, our throat chakra is also connected to our ears. Sometimes we have a lot of arguments because we're simply just not listening, and we're not paying attention to what's being said to us correctly because we're deflecting or we are reflecting constantly. So the best way when you do these exercises, it's not only going to balance your throat chakra, but it's going to help us listen a lot better. Because a lot of times when we freak out, we are assuming they're saying something when they're really not, or they are assuming that we are saying something that we're really not. And we need to be able to identify when that other person is twisting our words. And we need to be able to identify when we are twisting their words. So the best way to do that is to do the exercises that I did say. And also be aware that when you're in the middle of a toxic conversation, like you feel like you want to talk crazy or the person talking crazy to you, to listen to yourself and to really listen to the other person. Because a lot of times the reason why we start acting crazy is because we were triggered by what the person said. And we need to understand, what is it that they said that triggered us? Is it because we honestly feel like they really disrespected us? Is it because we feel like they're trying to change the subject and take it somewhere else? Is it because it reminds us of something our mother or father said to us when we were little? Did they trigger something within ourselves that we just really don't want to own up to? So we're going to try to deflect or reflect and try to get the attention off of ourselves by cussing them out and yelling at them. This is where we need to learn to listen not only to what the person's saying, but listen to ourselves. Listen to ourselves and what we're saying. Are we really saying things that we need to be said? Are we saying things that's actually helping the conversation? Or are we saying things because we really want to push that person's buttons because we're just simply angry at the time? That's why we need to stop and learn to listen. That's why these exercises I just gave you will actually not only just help your throat, but it's connected to your ears, and it will help us be able to hear what's being said, not only from the other person clearly, but also from ourselves. Because I do make a lot of videos on narcissism and gaslighting. And this needs to be really clear when it comes to listening, because sometimes we get triggered because some people will trick us into something and we subconsciously feel it, but we're not consciously aware of it. So what we'll do is we'll feel the trigger and we'll freak out, like cuss them out, or we'll shut down, which is not good, which is also closing the chakra, where you shut down and don't want to say anything because we feel like something might have been said or done, but we're being distracted by it, by what the person's saying to us. See what I'm saying? So we got to learn to pay attention to those things. And the best way to do that is to really do some of these chants and the visualizing with the light blue to help us clear the energy that's not only blocking our throat, but also blocking our ears, to really pay attention and be mindful of what's really being said. Are they tricking you somehow, some way? Are you trying to trick them somehow, some way? Because of whatever hidden agendas you might sneakily have that you're not aware of, or they might have that you're not being really aware of. So another practice you could do to help is blue foods. Blue foods like blueberries, blackberries. I know they're called blackberries, but they're actually very blue too. So foods that are blue is going to be really good to eat, especially blueberries. Blueberry shakes, get creative with it, are good for your throat chakra. And also even bathing in it to clean your aura. So if you haven't already yet, I have a video that I made on bath recipes for cleansing out your aura. And I have a lot of recipes on there for each one of your energy centers. So sometimes we just really need our aura just cleaned out because it's gunky and we have all kinds of energies just from being out at work, being around certain toxic people, or just having toxic thoughts in our mind, and we need that energy cleared off of us. It's a lot easier to speak clearly and hear clearly if our aura is clear. So please check out that video under my spiritual section on my YouTube channel, where I give all kinds of recipes on how to clean your aura. And there is one for the throat chakra, and I give a recipe on there on what bath you could take to help with the communication issues. So please check that video out. My next one, spiritual practice for that, is some of you may watch my videos and you don't practice African spirituality, but if you are following me, a lot of people who follow me do practice these practices. Therefore, if you do practice a lot of these African spiritualities, then the best deity to speak to and work with for clear communication is Eshu in Yoruba, or Elegba if you practice voodoo, or if you practice Kemeticism, then Sobek is going to help you communicate clearly, or if you practice Quimbanda, then Eshu in Quimbanda is going to help you communicate clearly. If you're not sure how to communicate with this deity, I have plenty of videos on Eshu and how to work with Eshu. You're simply going to go to the crossroads and ask him, Eshu, can you please clear up communication issues? Don't confuse me, confuse my enemies. If you're scared to work with this being, because it makes you kind of nervous, go ahead and shoot me a comment or shoot me a message, and I will set an appointment with you to see if you are meant to receive your own warrior, and I will train you on how to work with that. Or if you already have your Eshu, then go for it. If you're nervous about that, then I suggest to go Kemetic and work with Anpu. Anpu in Kemeticism is way less temperamental, and he will help you learn to communicate and open doorways and close doorways, because our voice, our throat chakra, is actually our first soul chakra, while the rest underneath are more physical. So this is our first energy center that actually opens the way to our spiritual energy field, is our throat, because what you speak is you speak it into existence. That's why we need to really balance this energy center, so we're not saying bad things and making it happen, because we keep speaking it into existence. It is a doorway to not only our physical life, it's a doorway to what we manifest within the ethers and the heavens before it comes to the physical realm. Therefore, working with Anpu and Sobek and the Kemetic pantheon is going to help you open the doorways and be able to communicate clearly. Sobek is a little temperamental like Eshu, so if you're not feeling safe to work with Sobek yet, I would suggest to work with Anpu first. If you would like to learn how to work with Anpu, go ahead and check my videos out on Anpu. I also have videos out on Sobek. I also have 2 blogs on my Facebook business page at The Mind of Ro, where I have one about Anpu and one about Sobek, and how to work with these beings to help you communicate and open and close doors. When I say close doors, I mean close doors to things that no longer serve you, and open doors to all that which does serve you, like abundance and clear communication. So go ahead and check those videos out, or if you have any questions, go ahead and just shoot a comment or message me, and I'll let you know how to work with these beings. And also go check those blogs out on my Facebook business page at The Mind of Ro. So number 10 is, sometimes when you feel like you're going to flip out, you just need to pause and breathe, and it's okay to say, hey, I need to just walk away. It's okay. It's okay. I made a video on the concept of our emotions and anger. I talk about this a lot. It's normal to feel angry sometimes. Sometimes people just push your buttons. It's normal. It's okay. But we need to understand, we need to be able to catch ourselves before we get to the point where we're going over the edge to where we're freaking out and stuff. So it's okay to just walk away. I have been around plenty of people who just simply won't let you walk away, and they'll follow you and stalk you and blow your phone up and walk out the house with you, or not let you walk out, and it sucks. It really sucks. I understand. But we need to really, that's when we need to really get to the point where we need to be assertive and say, hey, I need to walk away. And if the person's not allowing you to walk away, you need to be strong enough to say, hey, I don't care right now if you can't handle it. I need to walk away. This is for myself and myself only, and you're just gonna have to deal with that. You know, nothing's gonna happen to me because I walk away. It's not the end of the world. I'm never gonna see you again. Sometimes some people act like, I dated a dude a long time ago that acted crazy if I walked away from a conversation, and he would act like he's never gonna see me ever again. Which he manifested that, right? Because he supposed it, because what you resist persists, right? So it's okay to walk away. It's okay to like realize I'm getting hot-headed right now. I can't handle the conversation. It's not because you're weak. It's because you just need to walk away. Because sometimes when you're talking to a toxic person, they'll make you feel bad for it, you know? It's okay. You could just walk away, get your mind right, think about what happened, think about what you really want to say and why you really want to say it. What are your real feelings? And then return to the conversation whenever you're ready to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just breathe, stop and breathe, and then return back whenever you're ready. So my last step, number 11, is you gotta really own your healing. We have no control over how other people act. We only have control over the way we respond. We only have control over ourselves. And as a healer, and if you're watching this and you're into healing, it can be hard to do sometimes, to really just admit that we are not responsible for other people's healing. We are only responsible for our own healing. And I understand as a person coming from a very hard, abusive home, sometimes it's hard to just to say I need to heal and actually do it, because we get caught up in the whole like, well, I'm this person because this person did this to me, or I'm this person because my mom raised me to be this way, or I'm this person because of all this pain, blah, 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 and I don't know who I am without it, and this is how I am. And then you just want to accept the pain in you, you know? So we really need to own up to our healing process. Like the steps I just gave you with the practices, the spiritual practices, we need to own up to that. We can't keep blaming other people for constantly pushing our buttons. Does it mean that we have to own up and just let people do it? That's when I say heal, it doesn't mean to get to the point to where you're just so numbed out that you're just letting people walk all over you and gaslight you and act abusive and act crazy. You know, that's not what it means. That's not what healing means. Healing doesn't mean that you get to the point where you just allow it and you're just cool and you just stay cool-headed while it just keeps happening. That's not what that means. It basically means that you own up to the point to where you want to heal, so you don't have to keep doing this all the time. You don't have to keep setting so many boundaries around people who don't want to respect those boundaries. You don't want to keep arguing with people who don't want to listen to you. You don't want to keep fighting with people who don't understand you. You want to keep hanging out with people who just aren't who just aren't in your soul group. You know, we got to learn to surround ourselves with people who are like-minded, who get it, who were there with you. And we need to own up to that. We need to own up to standing that ground to be the great person we want to be the best version of ourselves. And we need to understand that the only responsible one for that is ourselves, basically. So of course, the last step is not the least step. That's very important. That was my last step, though, is own it. You know, we gotta own ourselves, own our journey, own our path, own our healing, because no one's gonna heal you. No one's gonna heal you, boo. Only you are. Okay, no one's gonna know. You can't wait for people. The issue with a lot of people and why they can't ascend is they're trying to wait for people. They're like, well, I'll be happy or I'll heal when the world's healed. When the world is healed, it's never gonna happen. Or I'll be happy and I'll be healed when my spouse is healed. Or I'll be healed when my children are healed. Or I'll be healed when I feel like my family or my parents are healed. It's not gonna happen. Stop waiting to be great. When are you going to stop waiting to be healed, to be great? Honestly, stop waiting for people. So that's it, everybody, that I have for you today. My next video is going to be how to accept change, because my following video after that is going to be on a meditation on Oya, who brings a lot of change. So change is hard to accept. It really is. The whole world is changing. We're going through a pandemic. It's freaking crazy out here, right? And I know it's really hard to accept it, not only because the world, but in our personal life. So my next video, I'm going to explain some steps on how to make it easier to accept change. Because if we don't accept change, we stay stagnant and we keep doing the same thing and repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. So the only way to stop repeating the same cycle over and over again is if we learn to accept change. The good kind of change, not the bad change where we end up going backwards or swinging from one toxic habit to the next toxic habit to make up for the other toxic habit. That's not good. So we're going to talk about positive change and how we can be open to it and not be scared of it, and to just allow spirit to blow away the issues out of our life and be able to be open to be the eye in the storm when things like this happen, and just allow it, not in a way to allowing toxicity, but be able to see how the universe is trying to shift and move you to another place. And we need to learn to be able to see when that's happening and be able to flow with the river in that way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do accept donations because, I mean, who doesn't love money? You need money to survive. You need money to live a fulfilled life, right? So if you love my information, I do accept donations on Cash App, $Obajaguna, and I will put that underneath the video as well, because I know a lot of you are like, well, how do you spell Obajaguna? So I will share that information under this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mind of Ro, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I have more wisdom and enlightenment to share with you. I hope all of you are having a well-spoken day. Ankh Ujasineb. Namaste. Odabo. Peace.